The old man sat silently by the busy street, a small cardboard sign at his feet, blind. Please help. People hurried past him, barely sparing a glance, their faces lost in the noise of their own lives. Coins dropped sparsely into the tin cup beside him, a clink here, a clink there, lost in the rhythm of footsteps. The world moved on, and he remained, still, forgotten. Until one day, something extraordinary happened. Sophie, a young woman with a keen eye for stories and a heart that noticed the unseen, spotted the man as she rushed to a meeting she was already late for. Something made her pause, an invisible pull she couldn't explain. She watched for a moment. People looked away. Others frowned at the inconvenience of his presence. Almost no one stopped. Sophie's chest tightened with a feeling she hadn't known in a long time, the weight of someone else's silence. She knelt beside him, her heart hammering with nerves and compassion. "Hello," she said softly. The old man smiled, a tired but genuine curve of his lips. His hands trembled slightly as he reached out and touched the air, sensing her presence. Sophie looked at his sign. The words were true but hollow, they described his reality, but not his soul. Without thinking too much, Sophie pulled a marker from her bag and flipped the cardboard over. She wrote new words, simple but powerful, from a place deep inside her. "Today is beautiful, but I can't see it." She placed the sign back in front of him, squeezed his hand gently, and hurried away before he could even ask her name. As the hours passed, something remarkable unfolded. People began to stop. They began to see. They didn't just toss coins, they spoke to him, shared a word of kindness, placed bills into his cup. Some even knelt down beside him for a moment, as if trying to lend him their eyes. The old man could hear the difference. In the sounds of slowing footsteps, in the rustle of bills instead of coins, in the soft, emotional tones of the voices that greeted him now. Sophie came back that evening, unable to resist. When the old man heard her steps, somehow he knew it was her. "What did you do to my sign?" he asked, his voice breaking. "I told them the truth," she said, her own voice thick with emotion. "I told them what it feels like, not just what it is." The old man nodded slowly, tears slipping from his sightless eyes. "Words," he whispered. "Words can change everything." Sophie left that encounter forever changed. She realized how often people spoke without thinking, how often they labeled others with careless words, or worse, ignored them entirely. She began to use her voice differently, not to fill silence, but to heal it. She wrote letters to friends she hadn't spoken to in years, filled with gratitude and forgiveness. She volunteered at shelters, not just serving meals, but listening to the stories of those who had been buried by judgment. She even began to write publicly. Articles, blog posts, small notes she would leave on park benches or pinned to bulletin boards, messages of hope for strangers who might need it most. The old man, meanwhile, kept his new sign. Even when the cardboard grew soft and battered by rain, he refused to replace it. It wasn't just a piece of cardboard. It was a reminder that even when the world seemed blind, a few right words could open hearts. Months later, Sophie returned once more, this time with a published book in her hands, The Power of Words, Stories That Change Us. She knelt by the old man, pressed the book into his hands, and told him, through tears, that he had been her first chapter. He smiled, wider than she had ever seen him smile before, and whispered, "You gave me back my voice." And maybe, just maybe, she thought, he had given her hers too. The message: words are not just sounds. They are seeds we plant in the hearts of others. They can wound, or they can heal. They can create walls, or build bridges. Every word you choose holds the power to shape a life, including your own. Speak with kindness. Speak with courage. Speak as if someone's world depends on it, because it just might.